Emotional unrest, frustration, and renewed calls for justice in the streets of Louisville, Kentucky Wednesday after a grand jury that was considering the March fatal police shooting of Breonna Taylor, a 26-year-old black woman in her own home, voted to indict Brett Hankinson, one of 3 white police officers involved for wanton endangerment for shooting into neighboring apartments. But what's now sparking protests was a decision to not charge any officer directly in Taylor's killing.
Evidence shows that officers both knocked and announced their presence at the apartment. The officers' statements about their announcement are corroborated by an independent witness who was near in proximity to apartment 4. In other words, the warrant was not served as a no-knock warrant.
And do you understand that anger?
Kentucky's Attorney General says the other officers involved were not charged because the investigation showed that under Kentucky law, they were justified in the return of deadly fire after having been fired upon by Kenneth Walker, Taylor's boyfriend.
We have vigorous self-defense laws in this state.
Taylor, an emergency medical worker, was shot multiple times by officers during a narcotics investigation. The warrant used to search her home was connected to a suspect who did not live there, and no drugs were found inside. The attorney for Taylor's family reacting on Twitter, posting in part, "Nothing for the murder of Breonna Taylor. This is outrageous and offensive." Ahead of the grand jury's decision, security barriers were installed, windows boarded up, a state of emergency declared, and the National Guard deployed to Louisville, expecting possible protests.
And quite frankly, we hope that all of this is simply not needed, that it will be a peaceful situation, and we'll all be talking in a week going, wow, that was something we didn't need to do.
Officials this month agreed to pay Taylor's family $12 million in a settlement. Relatives and supporters were calling for the officers to be charged with murder or manslaughter. In a statement, the American Civil Liberties Union, or ACLU, saying in part, "Today's charging decision is the manifestation of what the millions of people who've taken to the streets to protest police violence already know. Modern policing and our criminal legal system are rotten to the core. Until the need for real systemic change is embraced by our leaders, that indifference and disregard for the lives of black people will continue to be commonplace." Now, the state's attorney general also saying Wednesday the FBI is still investigating potential violations of federal law in the case. Melissa Duggan, City News.